You remember before you were at OPICA, any of the changes that took place, as you arrived to OPICA?
Uh, yes, I think one thing is the fact that if you're at home all the time, you get bored. So OPICA gives you an opportunity to meet other people, no matter what socioeconomic level they are. And you find out that we all have the same problems. Maybe just our perspectives are different. Just the way I'm looking at something doesn't mean you're looking at it the same way. But the truth is, you have the same problem I have. You just got to figure out how can I really deal with this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like life.
Right.
So just out of curiosity, is that one of your paintings behind you?
Yes, one.
It's nice. I like the colors in it. Very pretty.
Thank you.
Did you grow up in Los Angeles?
No, I grew up in Tennessee. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. And I came here. I had 1 year of college at Knoxville. And then my dad asked me if I'd like to come to LA. And so, yeah, I'd like to come out there, So I left Memphis and came to LA. Well, I was going to LACC first. Kept taking courses at night and took some courses at LA Trade Tech, just wherever I could, figured I could learn or add something to my transcript. By the time I entered USC, I had 59 courses completed. My degree was in sociology.
Uh-huh.
I changed from electrical engineering, which I was in at Knoxville, and changed to sociology.
Kellye, was it you that found OPICA, or how did that happen?
There was a colleague and fellow healthcare provider, medical social worker, that had some experience with OPICA and knew some of the staff fairly well. She had come across them professionally, and
Right.
she had assessed his case in a different setting, in his healthcare setting. And she said, you know what? You really should give them a call, because it sounds as though with his case and the conditions that he's battling, that OPICA would be very helpful, cathartic, therapeutic, and have a good family and community for him, because we definitely had a very sharp decline when he first got his pacemaker defibrillator. There were many areas that we were struggling with. Within a month of getting OPICA and getting the right healthcare treatment, I mean, he went from hardest part of the decline back to the top. He was talking and socializing and happy and, not really feeling the stress of the health concerns.
Do you remember when you first came to OPICA, Don? Was it easy or hard?
Being here at my house and looking at four walls, because my daughter had her work to do, but she didn't feel that way. She wanted to be sure and make sure that I, did everything I was supposed to do. It worked out fine. I was a little bit nervous when I went to OPICA, but I sort of discovered that I had they kept telling me, you have a talent in art. And I kept telling them, no, I'm just a rookie. I'm trying to learn this stuff step by step. Yes, I enjoyed the men's group. And the other one, let's see, what is the other one I do?
You've done the
today?
chair yoga, you've done the friendship group?
Yeah, friendship. Yeah, and so I've been in almost every group they have to offer. I've enjoyed them all immensely, but as I said before, the one that I enjoy most is art.
When COVID started and we had to close our doors and did programs on Zoom, how did that change for you?
The online situation hasn't bothered me that much. I pointed out to Abby and Sarah that it'd be a good thing if we kept this going, because here's the whole point. I'm talking to you about something.
Right.
Maybe someone else may be interested. They may look at this and say, oh, I never thought of that. I never looked at it this way.
So Kellye, is there anything that you can think of that prepared you to become a caretaker, for your dad?
My father was a caretaker to my grandmother and great-grandmother. I was raised in a house of 4 generations. When my great-grandmother, who we call Madeir, not the Madeir with the gun in the movies, but like the matriarch of the family, when she passed
Right.
away, I kind of became the Madeir of the family. I became responsible for kind of being the teammate with him for kind of keeping the family together. When things happened, I was actually in DC, and I had started a different graduate program and ended up in a social work program that also prepared me, although I tend to work with youth. I was in DC doing a field placement there at the time, and that's when everything happened. And I had to abruptly relocate across the country while being a caregiver. I don't know if anything literally prepares you for that level of caregiving, that very close level, but I feel like those years of the crisis management and things was very as helpful as it could be.
Did OPICA fit in for you at all as a caregiver?
Absolutely. I thought about what you said earlier in the conversation, and one of the most poignant moments that stands out to me, there was a moment where my dad is a thinker, and whether or not he's talking, he's always in his head thinking.
Right.
And also very outgoing, as you see. He's vibrant, lively, he just lights the room up. Everyone loves him. And he was sitting there and he was just kind of staring. And when we came to OPICA that first day, we met with Sarah. And he was kind of doing the same thing, but that's not my father normally. For me, it was like, you should get to enjoy this phase of your life. You've been through a lot. You have a lot going on. And it was just so different, drastically different, and I feel as though Sarah, and then later Mary and Kathy and Abby and Ann, they understood. They got a really good sense of his identity and who he was as a person and what he needed. He wants to be in the art. He wants to advance. And they just are so empathetic about molding to his needs as a human being. That's really different from any other healthcare setting. The intimate care that you get at OPICA, I haven't seen that anywhere else in the 2 years that I've been back. You have some support groups that I'm looking forward to. I've done the family days. The family days are great. The workshops about things about how to communicate differently and things like that, those have been super helpful. And I have caregiver friends from OPICA, surprisingly. I can think of at least 2 off the top of my head, 3 actually. The members of OPICA have become close. And so we stay in contact, even outside of OPICA, the caregivers and I.
And the OPICA we have is very personal, and it makes you feel at home. It makes you feel like, hey, somebody here understands me. Somebody here cares about me. That OPICA really cares about what you do and what happens to you.
Absolutely.
And what I found between senior centers and various adult day programs, we have one right down the street as well. And the difference that I've been told over and over again is the attention to each individual. It's not just a place you go and then you pick someone up at the end of the day. They weren't just passing time. They were actually working on the things that make us the best of who we are. And one of the things that he said to me that I've noticed when he talks about the groups that he joins, there's a Spirit Builders group, which he loves with Judy. One of the things he always comes back and says is, we talked about what happens when you lose some of your independence and how do you deal with that? And how do you feel about that? And what can you do to combat that? So they're really continuing with the things that are important to them. I don't know that you get that attention at the same level in similar types of support agencies. In the February to March timeframe, the shift happened. And to go from being out and going every day and to having to be at home in March and April and that sort of thing, there were definitely, even with my dad's bright spirit, just differences. He was a trooper. He's like, I'm okay, but just in his mood and his energy and his motivation, and even in his goals for life, they just kind of shifted. And then OPICA did this plan and implemented these Zoom classes. And my dad does not love technology. I mean, he respects it, but he is not a fan of people who get stuck on their phones and that sort of thing. They started, some of the staff, I guess they had started kind of implementing sometimes calls where they do check-ins, and that made a monumental difference in our week. And those conversations gave us the vibrance that you see in much of his conversation here. Then they had the Zoom classes begin as they were organizing. They did it slowly and thoughtfully and methodically, like they didn't just throw everything at us at once. They said, whatever you're comfortable with, what is he interested in? And then he starts going in these Zoom classes. He was in one Zoom class. He started in the art class. And the next thing you know, he's in 5 or 6 Zoom classes a week. And he's like, okay, I got to get up and go to class. It's time for class. I got to hurry and eat because I have class. What's my next class? We don't have class today, Dad. It's Sunday. So, it became a very natural part of the lifestyle. And I think there's something about just having both the audio, the video, being able to see the people you care about that really helped us to not only survive the COVID life, but to be able to still thrive to some degree in the way that we were prior. It's always best when you can go in person, but this was a great alternative, and it works. Even in the time that we've been gone, because he's had some recent health issues, we were gone briefly, and there you could immediately, within days, within a week, see a difference. You could tell that he missed and needed this level of contact communication, any of the kind of therapeutic things that they do, the things that they can do to grow, aim. He learned how to develop a vision for yourself as you're aging. What do you want? He wants to see his grandkids. What do you want? I want to become a better painter. It wasn't just a matter of doing it by yourself. He needed OPICA there to help that move forward in his journey, to move forward in his journey with that. It gave it more meaning.